In today's episode, I'll be giving my review and reaction to the 2009 film Inglourious Basterds. This is a war film with a runtime of 2 hours and 33 minutes, directed by Quentin Tarantino, which this is my sixth Quentin Tarantino movie, having seen Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And this movie stars Brad Pitt, Christopher Waltz, Michael Fassbender, Eli Roth, Diane Kruger, Danielle Bruhl, Till Schweiger, Melanie Laurent, August Deal, Julie Dreyfus, Sylvester Groth, Jackie Ido, Dennis Menochet, Mike Myers, Rod Taylor, and Martin Wook. So let's dive right into Inglourious Basterds. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the DubCast. Right off the jump, I've heard about this movie for years and years. People back in high school even told me that I need to watch this movie now. I'm not in high school anymore. I graduated college 2 years ago, so this is like been almost 10 years in the running of me having heard about this movie and to watch it. So I finally sat down and did it. And yeah, I think this is another great Quentin Tarantino movie. I'm really starting to understand the hype behind him because having seen most of his movies now, there are a couple that are still on my watch list to watch. I don't know if I'm going to watch the Kill Bill movies or not. Maybe let me know down below if you recommend. But these are all just very solid films, all probably at least eights. Yeah. So we'll see what I give this movie, kind of a spoiler to that part, but I am starting to see the pattern emerging between all of the movies, and it's hard to say that they're all the same because they have just completely different concepts and characters, and that does keep it fresh in each movie, and that just may be Quentin Tarantino's style that I'm picking up on, but I'm not really sure, but I am kind of seeing like there are some similarities. It's hard to put it into actual words. I think this movie in particular, Inglourious Basterds, has characters that are really built out from the jump of the movie, so we understand their motivations better than usual, in my opinion, slightly. So I appreciated that aspect in this movie. Also, I'm a classic guy, young male. I love World War II, so this is right up my alley, and I thought this was an outstanding take on World War II. I was definitely rooting for the Bastards. I mean, obviously, most people probably would be. Well, in today's society, I guess, we don't have to get into that. No politics in the channel, but I was definitely rooting for the Bastards. I think the concept of that team was amazing. The crew that just goes incognito in Germany and tries to take people out and get shit done. I mean, that's really awesome. That's like what builds the back of this movie, in my opinion. I felt like we almost didn't even spend enough time with that group, especially since they had such flushed out characters in their own right, at least the big three characters of the Inglourious Basterds team. I know there's other stuff going on with the movie theater and all that jazz, but I feel like we could have spent a little more time with the Bastards. I feel like they weren't even they were prominent in the movie, but they weren't like super focused on. So I thought maybe that was could have been something they'd done better. Just include the Bastards more. Just needed more of that squad. And Landa, yeah, Landa, believe, in my opinion, was the main character of this story. Another negative thing I have to say: some of the scenes felt like they were dragging on for too long. I know I'm Gen Z. This movie only came out 16 years ago, so not too back in the old days, but I especially thought the restaurant scene was really too long. I know that's probably like a classic scene that everybody loves. I don't really know what the classic scenes are that people love from this movie. And I did like all the characters in that scene, but I just felt like it was just going on for too long. We spent like 20 minutes in the restaurant, so that's neither here nor there. But I thought maybe we could have switched some of that up. Some of it dragged on too long. Maybe I'm the minority there. Of course, this movie ends in a classic. Not this movie ends. The restaurant scene ends in a classic Tarantino shootout. But I found myself a little bored during that Quentin Tarantino shootout scene in this movie, Inglourious Basterds. I don't know. Maybe it's just like having seen Django and then Hateful Eight and now this, all in probably a span of like 2 months. Maybe I'm just kind of sick of the whole shtick, but I don't know. I felt like this shootout scene was especially weak. I think the storyline of Shoshana, switching topics, was great, and I appreciated her narrative to the story as well, with her revenge arc being totally justified. Now, I said earlier we needed more runtime to take away. I don't know where you take away that runtime. Maybe you just add more runtime to go with the bastards, because I did like Shoshana's story. I didn't like that she died at the end, though. I mean, that just felt like they did it just to like do another thing and make like keep jumping through loops. I thought Shoshana should have lived, especially since a lot of the Inglourious Basterds died. So having lost a lot of our people characters throughout, I mean, it's real because that's probably what would actually happen. But I don't know. I feel like we didn't need to kill my girl Shoshana. Landa, his plot twist at the end, going traitor mode. I get it. He's kind of in like deep water if he's gonna turn on the Nazis and just give everything up. But I don't know. I feel like that was kind of just like that happened. I mean, there was no indication of that happening throughout the movie, in my opinion. Maybe I'm missing something. I feel like a lot of the stuff I'm saying, if people actually are listening, they're gonna rage on me for it. But I feel like that was kind of wasn't really a backstory of that being an option. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'll just give away everything, even though I've been like the most hardbrow person, like checking everything, making sure no one's doing anything type person, like the hardest possible. He's what was he, like the leader of the army or something? I don't know, but that just felt like a weird heel turn for him, in my opinion. I do like the ending that they do give him, though, with them carving the swastika in his head, and that also being the final scene of the movie sends you out on a good note. So I did like that ending, especially. Christopher Waltz, I think, did an amazing job in his role. He hit hard again, just like Django. I mean, he kind of carried. No, he didn't carry Django because Jamie Foxx did well, and he didn't carry this movie because there were other good people. But he's punching pretty hard in these movies. I think he got some awards for this. Great performance to Christopher Waltz. Overall, I say this is a very fun film. I could easily watch over and over again. I mean, I know people that do watch this movie over and over again. So I'm sure everyone has seen this movie, but if you haven't, check it out. I'm going to give it a 9.1 for Inglourious Basterds. Talking it through, I feel like that's kind of higher than what if you just listen to me review it. But I did have a really good time enjoying this movie. I think, taking my notes, looks like maybe after I was a little bit trying to focus on the bad stuff that I didn't like as much. But, I mean, well, let's get into the graphic now. So this is our 50th movie review. Number 50. Wow. Podcast is almost a year old, and we've done 50 movie reviews, just a crazy number, so got to recognize that moment real quick. But this comes in at number 5 of our 50 movies so far, tying Training Day at a 9.1. Comparing this movie against Training Day, I'd actually slightly prefer Training Day. I know it might be a hot take, but if we're down to two 9.1s, I'm just slightly going Training Day over it. This is 0.1 points behind Django. I stand by that. I think Django is the best Tarantino movie I've reviewed so far, between this and Hateful Eight, which this does place 0.1 points above Hateful Eight. So you have Hateful Eight at a 9.0, Inglourious Basterds at a 9.1, and Django Unchained at a 9.2. So there's a little Tarantino ranking for you. What do you guys think of those three movies? What would you place, or how would you place them in order from your favorite to least favorite? And this beats out Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Brad Pitt movie, and that was a 7.9, and it also beats out Snatch, another Brad Pitt movie, which is 7.5, so new best Brad Pitt movie on the board. So now we're done with the DubCast graphic. Let's break into my thoughts and reactions throughout the movie. Starting it off, one of these things I noticed is the chapters. Now, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the chapters, really, because I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, it's a movie. We don't need chapters, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't take away too much. It's not like a big thing. I'm going to do like a probably 40-minute review on this. But, I'm nitpicking. But, I don't know. I don't really like the chapters thing, to be honest. It kind of like takes away from the moment. And then, especially when you like read the titles, you can kind of tell maybe what would happen. But, anyways, we're starting this movie off in a Nazi-occupied France, 1941. An officer of the SS, which is Landa, so he's an officer of the SS. He is high-ranking, though, so he comes into a Frenchman's house. chugs the milk. I mean, I know Nazi people and that crew all just did whatever they wanted. I mean, so I'm trying to pre preface this. I don't know if this is like, I can't even put it into words. I don't know if that, I mean, I can't tell if Landa is actually like a scumbag or if he's just like doing the normal thing. Like I feel like if he wasn't, I feel like he goes about it in a decent way. Now, that sounds crazy to say because he's a Nazi, but like in comparison to other Nazis, I think, what do I know though? So I'm going to stop talking about this because before I get in trouble. So he's looking for the Dreyfus family, who Lapadit says escaped to Spain. Cool last name, Lapadit. And then plot twist, they're actually under the floorboards, and Landa is the Jew hunter. So right off the bat, there's your first nickname of the movie, Jew Hunter. And yeah, Lapadit is a sellout, bro. Like Boston Rob in Traders. Cross reference that probably no one watching this review gets, but he's a sellout. Well, I mean, I guess eventually Landa would search the house, so it'd be what it'd be, but that was sad to watch that family. I mean, then they get shot through the floorboards. One girl goes free, Shoshana, and obviously that will have a major impact later on in the movie, but sad start to this movie. I mean, Lapidite, sellout, Landa, Nazi hunter, or Jew hunter, scumbag. Right off the bat, we're getting our characters and tone of how we're supposed to feel about everybody. So moving on, we have Aldo Rain. He is the leader of an American squad of 8 soldiers to kill Nazis. They're going to go undercover as French citizens. He wants 100 I've said it so many times I can't even say it anymore. Nazi scalps from each of the soldiers. And at first I'm like, scalps? What does that mean? No, they're literally removing the scalps of the Nazi people, which, I mean, sometimes you gotta have your mementos. But this was a really cool intro scene. I liked seeing the introduction to the team. I mean, that's kind of like the bread and butter of like a nice action movie, war movie. This is our squad, and this is what we do, and then we do it. So I like that part. Moving on, we have Hugo Stiglitz introduced. He joined the crew after he killed 13 Nazi officers, and the Bear Jew is also a part of this team. He makes a grand entrance, smashing the leader of the Nazi group they're interrogating with a bat. They do let one live, and every person they let live, they leave a swastika on their head. So I did like this Hugo Stiglitz backstory. I'm curious if Bear Jew, that name came from this movie, like culturally, because I was in a fraternity with a lot of Jewish people, and they would call people Bear Jew, but I don't know if that's like from this movie or just maybe someone can let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, I mean, just epic, leaving the swastika on your head, genius, and it'll come up again later on. So bunch of different stuff happening in this movie. I mean, this is not as focused in one area as like Hateful Eight was, or Django even, where you're kind of following one character. This kind of has 2 or 3 main stories going on simultaneously. So we meet another side of the story, Frederick Zoller, and he runs into Shoshana Dreyfus and pursues her romantically. This guy couldn't take a hint, man. I know there's extracurricular circumstances with her being like double aware because she is a Jewish person disguised as a French woman, but so really he had no chance either way because he's wearing a Nazi uniform. He tries to use their common interest in cinema and then fail, but the next day he's just going to have the crew roll up, and she's taken by German soldiers back to the commander of propaganda, who Zoller is now convincing to host the premiere of his movie. She's questioned by Landa, which I think it's curious. Something I'm leaving to the crowd here. Do you think Landa knew at this point who Shoshana was because he had seen her before? You're kind of on edge in this scene because you didn't really know what will happen. Like, does he know it's her? Why is he asking these questions and being sus? Is that just who he is? This is like early Landa, so we don't really know what's going on. So I did like the tension of this scene. And one stipulation for her is her partner in crime at the movie theater is a black man, and he will not be allowed to work the projectors. And she brings this news back to him and says, these people want to come here for our movie, and they're going to start crafting a plan to burn down the theater with Nazis in it. And yeah, that's about as epic as it gets. I mean, later on we'll see some of this come to fruition, and they certainly did a damn good job. So, keeping it moving in other parts of the movie, we have Operation Kino. This is an operation where a British film critic will assist the Bastards in taking down the theater. So, what's interesting is the Bastards and Shoshana both have a plan to kill everyone in the theater and make sure that, whatever happens, but they never are in contact with each other. I thought eventually somehow they would get on the same page, but that was never happening. So I thought that made for a better ending where shit kind of hits the fan. Anyways, I don't know if this is even right because the British film critic, I think it's just a French actress or German actress who is like playing double sides. So maybe okay, no, I'm wrong about that. Well, no. So I think the British film critic puts them in contact with this German actress who is hanging out with German soldiers as they enter my favorite scene, the restaurant scene that I talked about in the overall review. So this is like a weird back and forth where she's just hanging with people. They're playing the game where you put a notepad on your head and you have to guess who's who, and she won't leave to be too obvious. So I thought we didn't need as much of this. Like as I mentioned before, you can kind of cut this scene down in my opinion, but they are playing back and forth. They finally get to talk to her, and then eventually there is a reveal that there's actually a super high-ranking German Nazi officer in the corner that nobody could see to start. So he comes out of the woodwork. He's going to go hang out with them, and they're going to have a back and forth. I mean, this guy's a loser, bro. Like, sit in the corner and go do your own thing. They clearly don't want to talk to you. My question was, why wasn't he hanging with the other people? I guess those are like his direct subordinates, but, socially, maybe not the best person. So they play a game now. They play the same game that they were playing before, and this is going fine. They are really, like, all the bastards that are on this mission are like, dude, we got to get out of here. Like, this is really annoying. We need to stop this. But the game continues on, and now something happens where one of the bastards screws up his fake German accent by ordering 3 glasses because they do 3 glasses in a different way. So that gives him away, and then the commanding officer in the room is going to have a standoff. Everyone's got a standoff with a gun aimed at each other. I mean, I like a nice little standoff, so I wasn't mad at this part of it, but everyone in the room dies, and shootouts happen, and bullets fly everywhere. I mean, Magic Bullet and Reservoir Dogs. This is a classic Quentin Tarantino thing to have happen, but there are 2 people who make it out alive, the German actress and the new father soldier. So this new father soldier was out celebrating. That's why they were in the pub, because he just had a kid instead of doing whatever they would usually do as a soldier. So those 2 make it out alive, and eventually he is going to die, though, because he won't give in to Aldo's demands. It's a whole thing. I think the actress actually ends up shooting him. Blah blah blah. I mean, this scene went on for too long, as I mentioned before, so I'm not gonna harp on it. So once this scene ends, they have the fallout from this. So the 2 or 3 remaining bastards press the actress on what actually happened at the bar and her next steps for the plan. But she's been shot, and they cannot speak German, so they are in a lot of trouble here and figuring out what they need to do in order to get this theater access and also like look like they're normal being there, which leads to obviously one of the better parts of the movie. And in addition, breaking news, Hitler is also going to be at the premiere. So the biggest scumbag of them all is going to be right there for the taking, for them to take out as well. So that makes it much more interesting too. It makes the plan even more important. So let's get it together. Let's clock in Inglourious Basterds on 3. But, things happen and it doesn't go as well as planned. So, after everyone had evacuated the bar, the head of security for the Nazis, Landa, comes in through and finds the autograph she left for the newborn baby, indicating that she was at the scene. This will come back up later as well to haunt her, but I mean, just it's one of those things where like bad things happen in movies, so this would happen where she leaves an autograph, it gets picked up by Landa, and then he's gonna use it later to expose her as a traitor. But I don't know. I don't know. I see both angles where it's like, would he really have just coming in there and found that autograph and been like, okay, I know exactly what this means or whatever? I guess you would. I guess I'm probably in the wrong there. Anyways, Shoshana. Back to Shoshana. She has a plan in motion to film a message in English, and we do see this message later on. So I'm very glad they didn't show it now, and they kind of give you that reveal later on. So I appreciated that. Landa gives the crew a hard time once he meets them. So finally, the movie premiere date is happening. You have Shoshana and her partner are setting up to burn the theater. You have the Inglourious Basterds planning to infiltrate and blow up the theater themselves and use different aliases. I mean, one of them is like an Italian. I think they have to be Italian because that's the only language they know how to speak. Landa, of course, meeting them gives them a hard time. And of course, he knows Italian as well. So chalked it up. He knows English, French, Italian, and German. So pretty impressive Duolingo for Landa there. But I mean, at that point, I'm like, of course, he knows German or knows Italian. So the boys that have made it on the inside, the Inglourious Basterds, have a round of TNT wrapped around their ankles as well. I mean, the tension is just, you could cut it with a knife at this point. There's just a bunch of crazy shit happening. So Landa doesn't have much on them now, but he presses the actress because he has that autograph about her foot and tries to match the shoe that he also picked up from the crime scene with the autograph to her foot. And after it seems like it's a match, he attempts to suffocate her, and he does so successfully. She is dead, and they capture Aldo as well. So things are looking really bad for the plan, at least on the Inglourious Basterds side, because you have Aldo in captivity. They know about the two guys sitting in the front couple rows with the TNT strapped around their ankles. The actress is dead, which I don't know if it's respectable or not for Landa to just kill a girl for, I mean, you could like ask her more questions or whatever, but I think he does have a little slight anger problem. I mean, it's really only exposed in this scene, but I thought that was maybe a little too far. I don't know. So the confrontation happens now. It's BJ Novak's character and Aldo are the only remaining Inglourious Basterds that have been rounded up. And so in this confrontation, he mentions, all of a sudden he does the heel turn and mentions he could possibly end the war tonight if he doesn't pick up the phone. He wants a deal with the United States to not face a tribunal once the war is over. I guess it's kind of like a saving face. I said I'm a big war person, but when it comes to years, I don't know if 1941 was like the beginning of the end. It kind of seemed like the Nazis had at least a pretty decent stronghold still on the stuff that they were doing. I don't think the war ends for another 3 or 4 years. Yeah, definitely not. But hopefully I'm right on that because I'll get roasted. I don't know. I didn't like this heel turn, though. I mentioned before. I mean, we have literally zero context of this leading up to it. I get it. You're trying to save face, and maybe you're just saying that he's like weak because he'll just turn when he sees the tides are turning. But I feel like he wasn't really incentivized to do that, and there wasn't anything to show that he was going to do that. So that kind of felt like a pretty weird surprise. Obviously not going to complain because fuck the Nazis, but it is what it is. So the phones are picked up by the United States, and they're going to try and work out a deal. So the boys at the theater don't know that all this is happening. Only Landa knows that they are strapped with TNT, so they haven't been captured yet. They have their own scheme cooking now because Aldo is gone, and they're locked out of the auditorium anyways due to Shoshana's plan. So they're kind of screwed as well. But we find out Landa actually put TNT in the suite himself to make sure that Hitler and the leader of propaganda are killed, and he wants a property on Nantucket in reward for this. I don't know what 1940s Nantucket was looking like. I mean, The only thing I know about Nantucket is that Dave Portnoy lives there, which I know, cringe. That's the only thing I know about it. I want to go someday, check it out. Actually, I heard good things about Nantucket. Did I? I don't know. Not sure what 1940s Nantucket looked like, but it must be nice if that's the one place he knows and wants to go, especially considering he knows 4 languages. I'm assuming he can't stay in Europe and feel safe, but just thought that was funny, especially because I live sort of close to Nantucket. So, will he ever go to Nantucket? You never know because he has a swastika on his head, so it's kind of hard to get around being exposed like that. Anyways, we have Zoller. He is actually, I didn't even mention this at all, he's actually the star of this whole movie. It's the guy who plays Zemo in the Avengers universe. He does a great job in this role as well. I mean, you have to remember, people, that actors aren't the characters, they're just acting. I feel like we need a lot of that, especially in 2025 when people are hating online about people's characters. It's an actor playing a role, so if you hate them, that means they're a good actor. You don't need to send death threats and all that. I mean, this came out in 2009 and everyone loves the guy who plays him, but so there's kind of a weird soapbox to go off, but point is out there. So don't hate. Just leave a bad review on Letterboxd or TV Time. You don't need to DM people on Instagram and threaten families and all that stuff. Where was I? I'm going off on tangents. So he gets up at the movie and goes to see Shoshana, which, dude, give it up, man. Oh my god. I hate when people don't get the signals. Maybe I'm too far back where, like, if you have a scale of, like, people who don't understand the signals at all and people just, like, don't even try because I'm over here where, like, I think the briefest thing is, like, it's over. Like, I have, like, the Dexter mentality. I've never seen Dexter. But when he's like, it's over, when, like, something little happens, that's me. But Zoller is on the opposite end of the spectrum where he's like, I have a million chances, right? Because she definitely hasn't turned me down and never smiled in my face or anything. I'm going to go see her up in the theater. Bro, whatever. I mean, he does do a lot for her, gets her the movie there, which was a crazy thing anyways. Why were they... Too many details to go over. So he goes up there in the box for the projector to see her. Obviously, she's cooking up her plan with her partner to blow up the entire theater. She shoots him dead, at least we think so, because she was packing a gun as well. I mean, you have to get rid of him because he's going to see everything with the projectors and stuff, so good job. Nope, he's still alive, and then shoots her, so they're both dead. Another stupid shootout where it's like everyone ends up dead. Okay, fine. I was sad. I thought Shoshana was going to live. She doesn't even get to see her plan come to fruition after, she watched her whole family get shot in front of her. She escaped from the clutches of Landa. I mean, that's kind of bullshit in my opinion that she never got to see it, but I know that that's kind of like a lot of people who make sacrifices in war, which makes it even doubly more sad. So I'm not going to gripe with that. Just wish my girl could have made it. So back to the boys in the theater, the Inglourious Basterds. They ambush the guards of Hitler, and Marcel, who is the partner of Shoshana, burns the screen. They destroy Hitler and the propaganda guy in the suite, and Shoshana's message plays over the theater speakers with the auditorium doors being locked. Everyone's stuck inside to burn, and the two Inglourious Basterds in the theater continue to shoot down at the people in the crowd. The whole thing blows up. I mean, I'm assuming they didn't make it out because that thing was blown to hell, but they made their sacrifices too as well. A lot of Nazi people dead, so that was a good day for the American side in this fictional world. And this movie ends with Aldo and Udovic's last confrontation with Landa. So they have Landa and his boy pull up to them wherever their designated meeting spot was. They kill his boy right away, and they carve the swastika in his forehead. You ain't getting away from this with no repercussions, bro. Good job to Aldo and Udovic. Great ending. Yeah, I mean, that's it on Inglourious Basterds. 9.1, another good Tarantino movie. Hasn't missed yet. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was just good, but if your worst movie is just good, you might be pretty fucking good at directing. So, Tarantino, thank you. Okay, so there it is, Inglourious Basterds. If you couldn't tell, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say anyway. So what else for Inglourious Basterds, you guys have for me. I know there was a lot of times I feel like that I brought up. Maybe you could leave something down in the comments. Should I be doing more research? Am I behind? I don't know. I feel like I like to have open-ended conversations because if any of you guys ever would comment on my videos, then we could have a chat. But no one ever comments, so I'm just talking to myself. Anyways, I thought this movie was great. Another great Tarantino movie. What would you guys rate it? Am I too high, too low on it? Let me know. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. More movie reviews coming. Next movie review will be Beautiful Boy. 2020 version. I don't know if there's another Beautiful Boy out there, but the one with Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet. Besides that, TV shows, I've switched. The only live show I will be doing is Survivor. There's just too many shows going on right now, but when they end, I'll have White Lotus season 3 for you guys. I'll have Daredevil Born Again season 1, and I'll have Severance is my project working on now. I'm not going to catch up in time, but I will have a season 1 and then a season 2 review of Severance. More TV shows in the works. March Madness is happening. There should be a stream at some point, hopefully, in the near future. Looking to do that. Maybe we'll do like a live reaction to the first 4 games, talk over the brackets and stuff. I got 2 good guests lined up for that who don't know each other, so we can figure it out there. More sports content. I mean, UFC is going to keep rolling. NBA, NFL, not NFL, NBA, NHL playoffs. Got to give my bracket predictions for that. This year we'll have guests on for those as well. And Survivor is the only show I'm doing every week because that's the only one that really, you can't really talk about a Survivor season after it ends in totality and go through the moments of the episode when you know who, like, the end result of it all. Maybe you could say about another TV show. What would you guys prefer? If you're this far in the video, you're one of my true fans. Should I do episode by episode or do a whole season reaction to shows like White Lotus, Daredevil, Severance? Well, Severance I'm behind, so that's going to be already a default. But yeah, that's what we got going on the channel. I have been busy in the past couple weeks. Got to get my head back in this thing, man. But I celebrated the beautiful wedding of 2 good friends out there. Not sure if you guys are listening, but you already had my congratulations and well wishes. So that was a great weekend spent. Good time off for the DubCast when you're having fun, celebrating 2 people that are going to share a beautiful life together. So enough of me talking. I'm just spewing at this point. So as always, be easy, y'all.